Good evening, everybody out there. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being along with us. And tonight, uh, we're going to be talking about mental health and relationships and the common theme of love languages. And we have Mr. Anthony Kelly, is a guest on here with us. And Mr. Kelly, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and everything. Let's know who you are.
All right. Thank you, Elder, for having me once again. I always appreciate, spending time with you. Like I said, my name is Anthony. Last name is Kelly. I am a licensed independent mental health practitioner. Also, I'm a licensed professional counselor. I've been practicing in the mental health field for 30 plus years. I've worked in forensic mental health. I worked in sex offender services. I've worked in substance abuse. I've also worked in child psychiatric units. I've worked in the prisons. I've, been doing a lot of work in the mental health field related to serious mental illness, along to couples, coming back to individuals. Just have lots of experience in the field right now.
All right. And thank you. You're very qualified to talk about our topic. And we know very common in relationships nowadays. Everybody wants to ask this big question, what's your love language and that there. But
Uh-huh.
right off the bat, I just want to ask you, what does the term love language mean? What does the term love language mean?
How you look at that, it's an important part of a relationship. What makes me happy, what brings me towards you, what keeps our relationship moving. And each person, has a way that they express love. Sometimes it's in the form of touching. Sometimes it's in the form of talking. Sometimes it's in the form of the way that you look at someone. So when you have that particular language, it's very important for any healthy, long-term, committed relationship. It's very important for that individual to understand their mate. Love language. How do I communicate with this person, in a way that we are connected both physically and emotionally.
Okay. All right. Cool. Good. Well, physically and emotionally. And if you
Hmm.
can, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, they say there's about five different types of love languages. If you
Yes, it
can
is.
kind of go and touch on, tell us what the love languages are and and what they mean.
Yeah. There's a book out called The Five Love Languages, written by a person by the name of, I believe his name is Gary Chapman. He had written a book about the five love languages, and one of the love languages of the five that he written is physical touch. Another is words of affirmation. One is quality time. One is receiving gifts or gift giving or and acts of service. So each individual typically responds to one of those particular ways of love, or feeling love, or feel appreciated in a loving manner. So when we talk about those five love languages, you want to look at one of the ones that we just spoke about. Uh, I'm one, he also talked about, and as Mr. Chapman, he talked about the Bible, and very much so, we all know we love the Bible, love reading the Bible, love
Hmm.
everything about it, and so when I look at those words of affirmation, nothing has been done under the sun that has not already been done in the Bible. So the Bible is our guideline to everything that happens in our life. So I went to the Songs of Solomon, when I was looking at some of these, and also I picked up in Corinthians. So the one that I looked at first, with the words of affirmation, and so from the words of affirmation in the Song of Solomon in the 4th chapter and 11th verse, it says, "Thy lips, O my spouse, drop as honeycomb. Honey and milk are under thy tongue, and the smell of thy garments is like the smell of Lebanon." And when I read that, I was like, "Ooh, boy, if that's not words of affirmation to telling me on how good I smell and how good I look." And so that's coming directly from the Bible. The Lord, like I said, the Lord has put this out there for us already, like to go to look at. And then we will go to the acts of service, Song of Solomon in the 5th chapter, 5th verse and first one. It said, I rose up to open to my beloved, and my hands dropped with myrrh, and my fingers with sweet smelling myrrh upon the handles of the lock. Now, I'm bringing things to you, sweet smelling things to you, things that you need, and these are those acts of service, that the Song of Solomon is talking about, that to keep that relationship moving forward, and then from receiving gifts, we go into 1 Corinthians 14 chapter. It says, I follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy. So he's telling you, receiving those particular gifts of spiritual gifts, I desire those particular things. I follow after charity, and the love, and God had already told us about how important charity is, and so that's one of those love languages that you come into. And then the next one is in quality time. It says in the Songs of Solomon 7 chapter 12 verse, it says, let us get up early and go to the vineyard. Let us see if the vine flourish, whether the tender grapes appear and the pomegranate bud forth. There will I give thee my love. Boy, if that ain't quality time, well, we gonna spend some time together today, baby.
So the Bible talks about our 5 love languages.
He talks about it already. The last one with physical touch is in the Song of Solomon, 1st verse, 2nd chapter. It says, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine. And the Bible has already talked about these 5 love languages, except Mr. Chapman, he put it into his own words, as to what makes that relationship healthy, what makes it last, what makes it goes on. And he's just talking about the things that God has already put before us to establish a healthy relationship, as long as he is a part of it. Amen.
Amen.
So those are the 5 love languages, and that's where they come from. Like I said, the Lord has already given us that roadmap, to enjoying a healthy relationship, by looking at those particular things.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. And I like how you pulled it with scripture to support these things. It kind of lets people know that they're not just thinking at the top of their head. There is a reason why you're feeling what you're feeling, and hopefully tonight we can unlock some of these things. So my next question is, what determines the language we speak? What determines the love language we speak?
Well, and once again, that's individualized, because we all don't feel the same way from the 5 love languages. One individual may receive something a little bit more from one aspect than the other. For instance, the words of affirmation, everyone loves to hear good things spoken about themselves, and they love to hear things, said to them that is in a positive manner. But yet that might not be what send that tingling feeling through me. Telling me that I look beautiful may not give me that tingling feeling. But if you reach over and you might touch me on my shoulder, that physical, that may be what I need. Instead of you telling me that I look beautiful, you're touching me and making me feel as though that I'm beautiful. So that love language comes in different ways from different individuals. Some of the things that we do, uh, that we believe because we feel that receiving gifts is a good thing, so we buy gifts for a person because that's what we like. We like it.
Right.
But we're not understanding that's not what the other person likes. The other person might like the gift, but that's not what they want. They want to spend time with you. They may want that quality time. You may think that, I go to work. You ever heard that? What do you want me? I go to work. I pay all the bills. I do this and I do that, and I take care of the house. So, and I'm giving you gifts. I'm doing this. But then the person say, yeah, but you don't spend any time with me. So that confuses the person that's working hard, giving gifts, providing, putting food on the table, this, that, and the other, but then they got to go to work. So it confuses that person because what the one person wants more than anything is your quality time. I want you to be present with me. So you have to understand what makes the other person tick, not just you, because as I said before, you may want it one way, but the other person's not looking at it that particular way. So you have to understand your mate. You got to spend that time to understand what their love language is, because it's not necessarily the same as yours.
Okay. So is it possible that someone may have a particular love language because they grew up in a particular home or had a particular deficiency in a home? Can those things also impact what someone's love language is?
You could say that. You could say that, but once again, you can't determine, those physical, the environmental aspects of what
Mm,
makes a person feel loved. Some people feel love by you just standing next to them. That's what I'm just saying, is that it's just so different. Some people feel love just by you giving me something. Well, people tell you money can't buy happiness. You understand? Because it's different. You have to understand that person. And are you I know that you're asking me, how does a person get those love languages? And I would say, well, I don't know, because that's very difficult to know what makes a
got
person
it.
tick, because they're individuals. You know,
Mm,
and individual people have individual feelings. They have individual thoughts. As I said before, if I gave you gifts, like I said, I might not want gifts. And probably in your household, how you grew up, your mom always got a gift from your dad. So you could take that, because that behavior is being role model to you. You can take that and say, in this house, this is how we give gifts. But all the while, the person may say that, man, I wish he would just stay at home with me. I just wish that we could just sit down and watch a movie. I know that my mom gives gifts and everybody is happy all the time, but that's not what make me happy. So you don't know. You just don't know. So I would just say, spending time understanding the person, asking what makes them happy, being able to come around and see, like different things that you can do, different ways that you act. Because sometimes, a person is very happy with chocolate ice cream, but then when you put sprinkles on it, boy, that chocolate ice cream tastes even better. You know, so like I say, you have to get into it to understand that particular individual.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then, with that being said, my next question is, can someone have more than one love language?
Oh, absolutely. Positively, absolutely. Me personally, I have all of the five love languages. I mean, I want them all, but the one that is really goes with me, my number one is physical touch. And most men, their number one is physical touch. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I love that the physical touch part, and then the next one for me will probably be quality time, and my third words of affirmation. But sometimes people give me gifts and I would say, oh, thank you very much. That's very, very, very good, to have that. But that's cool. And I like gifts. Don't get me wrong. If you got some, please give it to me, but for me to be in love is that close intimacy of physical touch for me. Mm-hmm. So that's why love permeates through different ways, through different people. And you can have all of the five love languages at different times. However, you will favor one more than the other. And maybe you might have two that it's a toss-up. It's a toss-up. So those are the things that, as I said before, you have to understand the person, because as I said, like a lot of people, especially, like I said, touchy-feely and men, for instance, we touchy-feely all the time, slap them on the, slaps, we, right, what I'm saying, and then they be talking about, quit touching me. You just be hitting me all the time, and I'm thinking that, hey, I'm doing that to let you know I love you. But see, that's not what that person might want. That person might just want to see, hey, you look beautiful. You look good in that. And that'll do it. But see, you probably thinking rub him on the back or, something like that. That ain't what they want. Or, you stay at home all day, don't do nothing because you're always working. And you staying at home with them all day. And you would think, man, I got to go get that money. I got to make sure that we eat. I got to make sure that this here. But what they're saying is, well, I wish you were here with me. You've heard, you hear it all the time in relationships where marriages break up a lot because the other person's not there. And they start complaining, well, I don't ever see you. I don't ever spend no time with you. But yet they give them money and they smile and they're happy, but yet that's not what they want. They really want you to be there with them and take me out with the money that you have, and that builds that strong relationship. So that person is saying to you, I would like to receive gifts and I would like to spend quality time with you. Mm-hmm. So that way you're picking up on that. The acts of service, yeah, I know some of my friends. I've met a few that they love to buy their wife jewelry, and it makes them happy. They say, "Man, I give her this here, and she's happy." Da 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 da. And I'll be like, "Yeah." And they say, "Well, baby, I love jewelry, so she loves receiving gifts. Love receiving gifts." So that's how you get to understand what this person does. But yet that person, they can be out with the boys all the time, all they want to. But as long as I'm giving gifts, that makes her happy. Good. So, like I say, you have to go out to understand a person's love language. And all the time, it's not the love language that you have that makes you happy. That's not what makes the other person happy most of the time. So you have to pay attention to that. But we can have all of them, but you have to know which one that they would prefer.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. So then my next question is, should I marry my love language or should I seek someone who has a different love language?
Another good question. When I work with couples, first thing that I notice is that opposites attract. It is a strong characteristic of individuals that have opposites, and it fascinates one person to be strong in one area and they're weak in another, and the other person is weak in one, and you're strong in other. But bringing that together, man, boom, powerful. When you understand it. So that's why you have to understand that. You are not the dominant. Whenever one person becomes dominant and it's always my way, my way, my way, my way, my way, you're going to lose out on that. Okay? So you have to be able to balance that. Sometimes receiving gifts is good. Sometimes physical touch. I like this here and you like this. So sometimes we have to give and take to be able to make it work. But if it's always your way with anything else and you're on that opposite spectrum, that's when you start having conflict, because you're not letting me get my turn. You see, so it's like a person want to go. One person likes to go surfing. We'll say one likes to go surfing, and one likes to go watch movies. So, do we have to go surfing all the time, or do we do movies all the time? Well, how to offset that is we go surfing one week, go to the movie next week, go surfing one week, go to the movie next week. But understand, in a long-term, healthy relationship, you take turns and you balance each other out. In a long-term, unhealthy relationship, you will notice one person is getting more of their needs met than the other person. And that's where the opposites, person that don't speak your language, that's where they're getting fed and you're not. So you have to learn how to balance that out, because a lot of people are involved with their opposite. A lot of people are. And then they learn as they go on, because we have life changes, and your love language may change. Remember when we get married and we're in that honeymoon phase. And that first honeymoon stage, man, it's like, oh, kiss me, baby. I can't get enough of you. And then next thing you know what happens when you're kissing all the time? Here comes the kid. And then we have a life issue. And so, well, I don't want you kissing me all the time no more.
Every time you look at me, I come up.
So, what used to be physical touch then changed. Now it might be, hey, just tell me that you want to be. Just tell me how pretty I look. And then when you tell them on how pretty that you look, and then they might say, well, you don't ever give me nothing. You always telling me how good I look, but I don't feel that way because you don't never give me a gift. You see on how the love languages change? And it's very subtle, and we don't pay attention to that, especially in long-term relationships. Okay, when you're in it, now you with that person, you have to understand that love language, because sometimes it changes. It's still, the one that you like is still there, but now they want more of a different one now. I still want the love, but I want a different one now.
Wow.
You see,
That's
and so we start looking at those particular things. So that's why I say, being in touch with your mate. I call it having that emotional intimacy. That's one of the things that's not on the love language here, but it's emotional intimacy, understanding emotionally what your mate needs, and sometimes and it's not sex. It's being in tune with that person, feeling what they need or what they want. I could be thinking about something and my mate is putting it together for me. Just know. I just know that you needed this here right now. You see what I'm saying? And so that's a part of that love language, is that emotional intimacy part. Then you may have that time when you're saying something and they finish the sentence. Boy, I wish you had a cheeseburger, right? You say, yeah, that's what I was just getting ready to say. See that person in tune with you. That's a love language, and people miss that part of a long-term, committed, healthy relationship. That goes into all of those particular things. It's very important that each person is important and expresses love in their own way. Learning from your partner, and your partner's primary love language is what you always want to be looking for, understanding that sometimes that it changes, but staying very consistent with sharpening, the relationship, putting positive things into the relationship to keep that language viable in the relationship, for a long term. The one thing, the reason why the love languages are so important is because people don't realize what they're saying when they get married. Some people don't. They don't realize what they're saying. And when I do my couples counseling, I ask them, very bluntly, do you know what the word forever means? Really? Do you really know what the word forever mean? I mean, you said it when you got married, I promised to love her forever, right? And so people, they look at that and I ask them, do you know what forever, that's a long time. So you can't expect to do the same thing forever.
Mm-hmm.
It changes. So you have to know what you're looking at. How do I still express love to this person in front of me forever? I know that physical touch is what they used to like, and they still do, but what else can I do?
And that kind of takes me to my next question is, I'm married, but my spouse doesn't want to speak my language. What should I do?
Well, we're going to have a problem, especially when they don't want to. That's a very key word. If they don't want to, within a healthy relationship, it's a two-way street. Now, a lot of people want to say a relationship is 50-50. Okay, we try to get there, but most relationships are 60-40. Most of them 60-40. In my household, 60-40. You say it's 50-50, now it's 60-40. Because my wife, she makes more decisions in the house, but I'm cool with that because I know she's got my best interests at heart. All right. So if mama happy, the whole house happy. I believe that. So I'm not gonna go in on that. So most people, they try to look at 50-50. But no, it's really 60-40. So when your spouse is not speaking your language, there's a problem there because you're trying to stay married forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. That's what you're trying to do. And you should be looking to do that. So you cannot stay together forever if you're not speaking the other person's language, or at least attempt to understand what this person is saying to you. If they're telling you, I don't want your physical touch all the time, okay, we got 4 other tools. What about quality time? What about receiving gifts? What about acts of service? What about and you're going to hit one of them, because if you want to make your mate happy and you want to keep the relationship going forever, you change certain things. And what happens when they don't speak that language? Most times there will be some turmoil coming your way. You can always speak to your mate and sit them down to talk to them, to explain to them what you're really looking for, and expect that they can do with you, for us, for the relationship, to keep the relationship moving forward. And if they're not responding to that, you're going to have some problems. I can't tell you what to do, but I will tell you that you're going to have some problems, because if you're looking to be together forever, somebody changes, because love make you do things that typically you don't do. It really does. For instance, my wife, man, she loves expensive purses. Oh, she just loves them. And I'm saying, man, I ain't spending no $500 on no purse. Are you kidding me? But guess what? I'm reaching in the back of my pocket and pulling my wallet out. How much is that again? Because I love her. What you want? I might not like it. And I'm not speaking that language. I'm not speaking that receiving that gift language, but I love her, so I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure that they're happy. So that's what that's all about. If your spouse not speaking that, you're going to have some problems. If you can balance that out, and that's why I would say, like being able to talk, being able to have that emotional intimacy together, being able to spend that quality time and all that together, it keeps the relationship moving forward. If something costs too much or outside of the person's financial way that they can get money or something like that, the other person will understand that, say, well, I would love to get that, but I know that he loves me or she loves me, and they're trying, to make me happy, and because love will say, okay, I can do without, or I can wait. So you have to be able to, if you want to do things, you can't make anybody do that. So if your spouse not speaking that and they don't want to do that, you're gonna have some problems.
So, with that being said, because I absolutely totally agree with you. If they don't, there's a difference in them not having the ability
Yep.
or the knowledge to know how to do it at the time, than them absolutely saying, if yours is physical touch, well, then you better figure something else out because I'm not going to be doing it.
Absolutely.
Because I like how you use the analogy of your wife getting your wife the purse. Because with that being said, when we do things out of love, love will make us change some of the things that we don't want to do.
Absolutely.
Will do.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just want, before we go on to another, I just want kind of offer a follow-up question is that, so let's say that you have a person who's asking for something outside of your resources.
Mm-hmm.
There's this receiving gifts, and the gifts they keep asking for are outside your resources. Is there a way that we could teach the person how to handle that? Because their resources, and if they go outside their resources, you and I both know from a financial standpoint, when a person goes outside their resources, you do that enough times, you're gonna collapse, you're gonna implode upon yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna crash on
What
that.
advice would you give
Mhm.
in that their situation?
Yeah, within any relationship, people love to have nice things. They love to have good things. They love to do those particular things, but unfortunately, everyone's not going to have everything that they want. You know, the Bible uses the word content, and I love the way that we should be content with what we have. Sometimes when it's outside of our means, the Lord opens up a way, with blessings, that maybe He may bless us down the road. I was just talking to someone today. The Lord comes at us with yes, no, and not right now. So it might not be the time right now to get it. When will it be the time? Well, I don't know. Maybe the Lord probably opened up a door for you to get it, and you may not ever get it. you
Mm,
know but within the relationship, do you think that it's fair to push the person that you should love, who loves you, should you push them into doing things that they're not capable of doing right now? Or maybe it just won't happen. Can you be content with that individual, that they love you enough that at least they're thinking about that, and when the time comes that the Lord will give you a blessing so that you can possibly have it? you know uh, I talk about certain things. For instance, I've always wanted to give my wife, the biggest house that I could ever give her in the whole wide world. you
yeah.
know uh but that ain't how that started out. I started in a one bedroom apartment with two kids, with a 5 foot bathtub and no shower. you know then my wife asked for better things. Sure, she did, but I wasn't able to get it. And I just said, but I'll work. I'll try my best to do what I got to do to try to get there. And the Lord blessed, where He kept us together. He kept me moving. I didn't lie and say that I'm not gonna do it, or I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it tomorrow, or I'm gonna do. I know, and she didn't push me into going
Mm,
out to do something that I shouldn't be doing just to make her happy with some material stuff. You see, so you have to be able to pick your mate up when it can't get something that you really want. This is where words of affirmation comes in, saying, okay, babe, I understand. I know that you're doing the best that you can do right now. It's just not right at the right time, and we're gonna get it later together. you
mm,
know Words of picking me up. I already feel bad because I can't do it, and now you picking me up, and letting me know that you believe in me. Okay, so those are the things that, when we can understand how to utilize the 5 love languages to have a healthy, long lasting, committed relationship. and these things, they do work because they work in everyday situations that we're faced with all the time. And it's not just regulated to the rich, the poor, or the ones that have so much money that they can just blow it out the trees. Things happen for them also. You can have a whole lot of money, but you probably don't spend any time with the person. You see, you can do a lot of things. I hear a lot of people say that, my mom or my dad, they don't really even hug me. They always giving me stuff, but they really don't hug me. It's all of those particular things that we have to be looking at to indicate love. This is what makes me feel loved.
That's good. And I think and we've kind of touched on this question here before, and maybe been answered already, but I kind of want to revisit it. Is how do I learn to speak my spouse's love language? Because sometimes I know some men, because of we're often taught men don't cry or men don't do this. Some men may not know how to give words of affirmation. They may not know how to do, or we know acts of service. We can do, as I like to say, we can do the male responsibility of the relationship, but we don't know how to show the male's love in the relationship.
Right.
And you kind of touch on that for the men that are watching. Give them some clues, and then we want to also touch on the women, because you touched on it before when you talked about your wife encouraging you, saying, baby, I know our resources don't allot for me to have this right now, but I believe that you can get this for me. How we can just work together, that even though we don't have what we want, but we can still maneuver. So first thing I like to touch on is, how can we as men, even though we may know how to take care of the responsibility of the man in the relationship, how we can move towards showing the love in the relationship, so it's not out of duty, but out of affirmation or feeling or attraction.
Yeah, very good question. And like you said, a lot of men, they don't want to cry, they don't want to show a weakness, because we have to save face. We can't look like no punk, and I run my house, stuff like this, right. Until they walk in the door, what you say? No, yeah. The thing what I always say, it's just all right to be able to express love in various ways. For instance, sometimes we don't tell someone our true feelings,
Right.
And that's because we just don't know what they're going to do with that. And I try to tell some men, your feelings are not for everyone to know. However, the person that sleep next to you, that you should love more than anything in the whole wide world, what's wrong with them that you can't at least share some of that in those internal feelings with them? What's going on with you? I try to shoot for 90, probably about 98%, especially if you're in a committed marriage, committed relationship. People talk about, they tell me 100%. I tell you anything. That. No, you don't. So I just say 98%. I say shoot for, because there's going to be that 2% that men they just gonna hold to themselves. Because we don't know how that person is going to react. We don't know if they're going to, probably laugh at it, or say, well, what? I didn't know you, you know, and any little thing that affects our manhood, we're not going to put that out there, you know. So that's why it talks about love. You have to love, deeply love a person to be able to talk about my innermost thoughts, my innermost secrets.
Mm.
You know, you have to be able to do that. And so that's why they talk about these here languages, and these love languages are not for everyone. They're talking about that one that you're with, that intimate one, like a lot of people talk about with God. You know, ain't nothing wrong with saying, God, I love you, and you do things for God, and the Lord gives you gifts, and you spend time reading, and you know, you're always touching on your Bible. You know, those are love languages right there. You know, even if you're having that relationship, but those are your innermost thoughts, your innermost secrets that you're telling. Now, He knows all, above all, and with all. He knows it all. But that next person is that person that you're married to. It should be. And that's why I say probably 98%. I ain't gonna say 99, because we keep some things to ourselves. I ain't telling nobody this. We don't know, you know, how they gonna react to it. So how do I do that? I would always say be confident that the person that loves you, that they love you, that they're not going to hurt you, that they're not going to use what you say to them against you. It's unfair to use, if they saw you cry, it's unfair for them to say in front of somebody, oh yeah, well, see, he was crying. You know, I ain't gonna never tell you nothing else. Or you get into it, that's why you was crying last night. You know, you see, now that's a sign of weakness for a male, and we're not gonna do that. So when a male is able to express that innermost feeling to a female, she got to put that on lock.
Mm.
She got to put that on lock. She has to, what they say, put that away and nurture that weakness to let that person know, I got you. And you do that with that physical, with that love language of what they like. Is it that physical touch? You know, rubbing them down, you know, tell them, hey babe, I understand. Is it that, hey babe, you know, I didn't know that you felt that way. I love you so much. You know, is it you're gonna spend some time with them? Hey, we should just go away. You know, what is it that, you know, you're doing? Because a male needs to express those feelings sometimes also, you know,
You know,
without them being in danger of thinking that it's going to come back on them.
and when you said that, and I'm thinking about the phrase that I like that you use, nurture that feeling or
Mm-hmm.
nurture that weakness. Because when I think about in relationships, I think there are some relationships where when someone tries to express what they feel, and we may mean well, but we spend time trying to correct how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
If you
yeah.
could
We're a
talk about
fixer.
that a little bit in why we should or should not try to correct how someone, like if Brother Green Apple says to his wife, when you do this, you make me feel like this. And
Mm-hmm.
then um when and then Sister Green Apple says, well, I think you want to feel like this, or this is what I meant. You shouldn't feel that way. You can kind of talk to that there a little bit.
Yeah. Hold up. Yeah. Yo, I can't hear. That's my wife. So you gotta see. Now you heard that. See, that's that word of affirmation. All right. Yeah.
So, like I was saying, was that changing how that person feels about that.
Mm-hmm.
How should we tackle that?
Yeah, the one thing that a lot of people try to do is, like you were saying, is tell a person how they should feel, or
Mm-hmm.
what they feel, or how they feel. And very bad mistake is you can't tell a person how they feel because they're telling you that this is what how you make me feel. It's not up to you to debate that. You shouldn't be debating how that person feel. The question or how you want to answer that is, oh, like, I didn't know, or I'm sorry, or is there anything that I can do? you know but don't negate that person's feeling, because now they're not going to talk to you anymore, because you're telling me that you don't care about my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime when you tell a person that you don't care, and they're telling you that I don't like this, and you be like, oh, the only reason why you don't like this is because, well, I'm telling you I don't like it. you know and so maybe it is because they're doing this, but the fact of the matter is they don't like it. So it's very much so up to you to listen as to what's being said. And a lot of times, as I said before, sometimes a person may not be willing to change. When you're not willing to change, we're gonna have some problems. We're gonna have some problems. You see what I'm saying? When you're not willing to do that. But if they're expressing that to you, and you take it for what it's worth, because sometimes you're not going to hear pleasant things about you. That's the one thing that I had learned, from my wife one time, because I'm a fixer. That's what I do. I fix
Okay.
things. I
Yep.
want to fix it. I want it to be good. Well, one day she sat me down and she told me, she said, "Hey, look, I don't like when you do da ba da ba da ba da ba da ba da ba da, and I don't care when this here go on and this that da 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 da." And I said, "Yeah, but all I was doing was just trying to help." She said, "I didn't ask for your help. I
Wow.
just wanted you to listen." You see, that's
That's good.
part of love language, is to listen. That's an act of service. Okay, I'm
Mm.
listening. I'm not telling you how to do things. I'm not lending anything. I have to do something because of love. Because of love, they're telling me this because they want me to be better. Didn't ask for you to help. If I would have asked for you to help, I would have asked you. So now what I've learned is, when she's saying something to me, I shut up and I listen. Now I say, well, is there anything I could do? Or she may say, well, I need your help doing this. So then I do it. If she don't say, I need your help, I'll say, well, okay, anything you need me to do? No, okay, see you. That's it. And those are the things that a person has to do when it comes to a point when someone is negating their feelings. You can't tell that person how they feel, because that's how they feel. You can't be
Wow.
saying, well, no, you don't do this here, or this here going on with you, or you did. No, they feel that way. So it's not up to you to change that. It's up for you to listen. And if you would want to change you, that would be great. If it was whatever you have control over, so that they don't feel that way anymore, that's what you should do.
Got it.
You
Got it.
see, so don't try to tell a person how they feel.
Got it. Well, that's really our questions for today. I have for you, Mr. Kelly. I appreciate you. We love you. If
Always.
you could take a quick minute, kind of summarize up anything you want to say to our viewers before we sign off.
Well, yeah, enjoy those five love languages, especially if you're in a long term relationship. It only makes it healthy. And understand that a relationship, especially if you're married, a relationship is meant forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And things change. things change, so you have to be willing to change with it and understand that the other person changes also. So what was good some years ago may not be good today. Not
Wow.
saying that you can't do that, but you may want to switch over to something else because that might be another area that may be missing in there in a person's life. So you want to always be checking into it. Very important to know your mate's love language. Very important, because that will get you through a lot of minor disagreements. And I say minor disagreements because a lot of minor disagreements they go unresolved. And when you have a lot of unresolved issues, when that big one come, it's going to be so big that only thing you're going to be talking about the minor things instead of talking about the thing what's really in front of you, like right now.
Yes, yes, yes.
So make that happen too. But hey, I appreciate you having me on. Always a pleasure. Anytime I can be of service, just let me know.
We'll do. I want to thank you again, Mr. Kelly, for letting us time. We know you're very busy, and we want to appreciate that. And I'm sure our viewers out there appreciate the information and knowledge and wisdom. And hopefully, we're going to be we'll be doing some more things coming with you and partnering up. Thank you very much. Y'all take care. Y'all have a good night. And please don't hesitate to reach out to us if you need anything. Thank you. Good night, and God bless you.